Good evening, sports fans. Welcome to the Red and Blue Review. My name is Jel Holyoke, and tonight I'm ably assisted once again by Mr. Calm, Ian Lyons, and a guest presenter,
evening, everyone.
Grant Saunders. Evening, Grant.
Evening.
Before we kick off, I know that you guys, like at the end of last week's show, I said to you that Nick would be back. Well, unfortunately, Nick and Sarah have had some sad news within their family, and so Nick is now with his family, and obviously can't do tonight's show. But I'd like to, to forward our love and best wishes to Nick and Sarah and the family. What they're about to go through is not very nice. And I can tell you now that that everyone at the Red and Blue Review and Red and Blue News and everyone concerned, his friends and everyone that knows Nick, we just send our best wishes and our thoughts at this very sad time. Right, Ian. Tonight we on that note, that sad note. Let's talk about yesterday. We had the better of one of our arch enemies, of which there seems to be, according to other people, a rising list of them. But we did the Brighton yesterday on their patch again, and an amazing feeling. Twitter is social media is such a good place when we win, but when we win against Brighton, it's even better. I know Grant was at the game. I know that Ian watched the game. I watched the game as well. So let's get on with it. So I'll have a crack on with the team, the Palace team. So it was Guaita, Ward, Dan, Cahill, PVA, McCarthy, Zaha, MacArthur, Ayew, Benteke, and the subs, very strong bench, I thought, this week. Luca, Meyer, the out of favour, Townsend, Hennessy, Tosin, Kelly, and Riedewald. Brighton's team, please.
Right. I can't believe you made me even mention them, let alone, and now I've got to name them. Right.
Well, if you just like spit the dog, you just in goal.
What we should have done, what we should have done is Grant and I should have cheered every Palace name, and then I just quickly run through the Brighton lot. Whoa. So it'd be Ryan, Montoya, Webster, Dunk, Bird, Proper, Basuma, Moy, Trossard, March, Mope, Stevens, Gross, Johanna Campanash, Murray, that little pixie, Skeletto, Button, and Alzati.
Okay, thanks to that.
Household names, obviously.
Yeah, all over, man.
So the stats: possession 67% to them, shots 23 to them, 12 to us. Shots on target 8 to them, 3 to us. Corners 8 to them, 7 to us. Fouls 8 to them, 9 to us. Good news that we actually kicked them more times than they kicked us. Arrests them none, us 8. The attendance, firstly, Martin Atkinson was the referee, and the attendance was 30,124. So unless loads of those Brighton fans went dressed as seats, that's a lie. Stop lying, Brighton. Right?
That's clearly what they counted, wasn't it? Seats.
Well, that's all they've counted, yeah. Yes. Oh, there were. Well, I don't know about stewards. A lot of stewards, not many police, which I know the Palace fans were quite grateful for this time going down there. Let's crack on with the first half.
Okay. Well, as you quite rightly pointed out in the lineups, Luca for the second week running was missing. So it was the same starting 11 as finished or started against Newcastle. And on the show last week, we were saying what a positive move, what a positive performance it had been in comparison to the previous weeks, and whether or not there would be a link there, as a result of Luca not being in the side. And the game started off very much with us on the front foot. I thought they were quite circumspect, and I thought they looked quite jittery, certainly for the first few minutes. And it wasn't long before we had our first effort, and it was a lovely ball. And I think it was James McCarthy. I know in the press I've seen it as James MacArthur, But and if it was, then I'm sure people would tell me. But he won the ball deep in our half before effectively just hitting it direct straight onto a non-running Benteke, who beat the offside trap, and it looked simpler to score, but he ended up shinning it, almost on the corner flag, and you're just thinking, oh no, that looks so promising, and yet it's back to his wasteful ways. But even though that was in the first few minutes, you could tell that we were up and at adopting a high press, stopping them from building from the back. And what I begrudgingly admire about the Southern lot is that they do have a good roster, if I can use that term. I don't like using that term. They do have a good lot of centre backs, and and they are a massive unit. And this high press, and even though they're a massive unit, what they're able to do is they're under the manager is that they're playing a more possession based style of play. They're building it up around the back. So obviously, Hodgson's actually sorted the tactics out so that we stopped them from doing that, and it was clearly working. And then on 10 minutes, we had another attempt. This time it was Cahill. There was a ball into the box. Benteke winning a header. He'd started promisingly. Knocked onto Cahill to the back post. A bit unlucky, he got it stuck under his feet, but Matt still managed to get a shot off, which Ryan then saved. And then Brighton started to come back into the game a bit, and their possession started to gain them a greater stronghold in the first half and in the game, and they started to push us back. And it wasn't long before Morpay and Solly March both had efforts that were saved by VG in the swirling wind. And you started to see a pattern of play. We're starting to sit off them. And then at that point, the game starts to ebb and flow. And up until that point, even up until probably the first 20, 25 minutes, Wilf and Jordan Ayew are pretty anonymous, other than when they're receiving the ball, they're actually turning it over and going back to traits of previous games. And that causes a problem because obviously we're trying to push out, and the ball isn't sticking. And what's happening is that both Ayew and Will aren't in Benteke when he's up there winning the ball. And then on 27 minutes, we saw the first flare up of the game. Tension started to run a bit hard, niggly fouls. And then, as I said earlier, Wilf, who hadn't up until that point been involved in the game, suddenly was seen to have a tussle, a tangle with the sub Skeletto, and cutting his ears to the crowd. Skeletto then obviously has a bit to say back, kicks the ball at him, and then irony of ironies, Luca ends up as peacemaker and breaks it all up. But as a result, Skeletto obviously sub interfering with the field of play, gets booked, and he's not even got on the pitch yet. It's a fantastic start for us. I don't know whether he was doing it trying to get into the Brighton fan psyche, but I mean, as you can see there, he's giving it the old crying, trying to get the fans to back him. But he's maybe he just didn't fancy coming on in the first place, because as soon as he's got a yellow without even setting foot on the pitch, you just know that he's not going to be someone that they're going to turn to on the bench unless there's an injury. So with that said, we get to the half-hour mark. Now, it's at this point I then get a message on my mobile saying, "Did you know Palace are the only Premier League teams who have not scored a goal in the opening 30 minutes of the game this season?" And you just think, oh, really? Why is it we're always why is it always we're making these sorts of stats as opposed to highest scorers or fastest goal scorers or whatever? It's always the crap stats we're top of. And then all of a sudden the game starts to change a bit as a result of that spat with Skeletto. Wilf seems to be using that as a little bit of motivation, and so he should have. But rather than actually receiving the ball in front of him and running at players, what he's doing is he's trying to showboat now. He's receiving the ball, inviting players onto him, And, you know, every now and again, he ends up losing it again, rather than doing what he's good at, and what he's often good at is taking players on. And he simply wasn't at the races yesterday. Brighton then, at that particular moment, Brighton are becoming more and more dominant. And they're seeing a lot of possession. I mean, as you said earlier, they saw 67% overall. And as we all know, you know, that's the Palace way, and that probably plays into Hodgson's tactics. But as a result of possession, they then have another couple of attempts with Mopé again having a shot, and Solly March, who on the break, Trossard puts a lovely ball into him. I think actually it's PVA loses the ball. PVA is over on the right, loses the ball, and they immediately stick down the left-hand side. And he puts a beautiful ball in with the outside of his right foot. Solly March, you think, you know, it's odds on to score, and then he screws it wide. And oh no, that's going to really haunt him. That was a serious let-off for us. And then just before the half-time whistle, we then have a chance, this time with a ball being floated in from the corner. And having said what I've said about their centre-backs, and that Burn in particular impressed me. I mean, he gave Wilf nothing in that first half and easily muscled him off and matched him for pace as well. But even so, Cahill won a fantastic header, leaning over Dunk. Dunk made a back for him, but he still got his head on it, hits him at the turf, and you think, that's it, the roof of the net's going to bulge, and it just goes over. And at that point, that was just before half-time, and then the half-time whistle comes. And I think, in all honesty, I think it was a fairly even half, and both sides had chances they should really have taken. Grant, what do you think? What was your? Because you were actually there, weren't you? So
I was at the game. So yeah, I mean, I was caught up with the emotion of the game as well. Where I was sat, I was right next to the home fans as well, so I was loving that. I saw the match being the same as I expected from all other matches that we've started this year. Letting the other team play for 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes, sitting back, etc. Interesting listening to you, though. You saw it slightly different in the first part, because I saw Brighton coming at us, absolutely out the blocks. But again, caught up the emotion. I might have been distracted by burger sellers, whatever. But yeah, I felt it went the same way as we expected them to come at us. We sat back. Interesting stat you said about the first 30 minutes. We haven't scored a goal. And thinking back, we scored so few bloody goals.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a really interesting stat. I hadn't thought about it, but you think back, yeah. First half, yeah, like you said, that let off we have, that guy left foot. Why didn't he just put it across Guaita? I just don't know why he didn't. Half of us in the away end, we thought the ball was in the net. The home fans, they reacted like the ball hadn't got in, so knew it hadn't. But it was just an incredible let off for us, a real let off. The chances they had in the first half, I felt, were the ones they should have put away, and we should have been put to bed really by half time. I won't say we rode our luck. We played the game. What I put in my notes is that I wrote these notes before I'd even seen these stats from BBC, etc. Is that we had the lion's share, if you like, of the open play, but they had the lion's share of possession, and possession got it right, 67%, I think you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, but actually in open play, so they had possession. All they were doing is just walking around with it. They weren't actually doing anything. And I saw on Match of the Day that they were showing the zonal play that Palace were playing, 3, 4, 5 players in every single zone, and they had the defence completely sewn up. I thought we had a brick wall within the pitch, if that made sense, just not letting their players move. And I felt we reduced their shots to long range efforts and hope, opposed to anything that's on target and really damaging. I think that's possibly, you never know, why he put it into the side netting. That was an absolute surprise for me. So slightly.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely inclined to agree with that. I think it's interesting. I'm sure we'll talk about the defensive unit at the end of the match report. But I would tend to agree in that a lot of their efforts came from distance, and that one chance that they had really was the chance. And he should have. He just bottled it. But there you go. What can you expect?
The outside of the guy who put it over from the left, the outside of his right foot, when he curled it across the penalty spot, he was putting it on the plate for him to put it in the back.
It was, yeah. He didn't have to try.
Yeah. Happy days. I saw what I say really to that one.
Okay, well, so with that said, I think as I say, it's probably we're a little fortunate, I think, on the basis of that solid March chance, certainly, to have gone in at 0-0. But as we said, it's a solid defensive performance, if not a solid attacking one. So the second half starts with a change straight from the off, and clearly McCarthy's injured himself. And I like the way that McCarthy and MacArthur have started to strike up their old partnership that they once had at Wigan, weren't they? They played together. And as a result, that seems to be starting to bear fruit. And also, Kiyate, I think that's freeing him. Go, Grant, yeah.
We know what the injury is. Because like you say, they're starting now to work together and to gel together. I don't know how serious he is, but like you say, off the pitch and, Gyro came on.
I don't. I'd like to think it was more, if it was an injury, it didn't seem to hamper him that much. Certainly, it's not as if he pulled up right before half time, was it? So maybe it was just like he felt something and they were just trying to manage it. Yeah, Jel?
Roy turned around and said that he actually wanted to give it another 5 or 10 minutes, but the doctor and himself took the decision to not try and make things, to not make things worse for him, and took the decision to bring Gyro on, which in retrospect was a good decision, really.
Okay, cool. Right, okay, so as I say, second half starts with Gyro coming on due to the injury, and straight away Brighton are in a more proactive mood. They're pushing it further up, but they automatically started higher up the pitch, and soon after, I think it's probably a couple of minutes after the second half started, Dunk has a header from a corner. And it's destined for the corner as well. And then all of a sudden, Maupay gets his face in the way and does what our defenders are failed to do on many occasions, and clears it. And to add insult to injury, he was offside in the process. And then Gyro, who's still finding his way, attempts to make a block tackle against Moy, who I rate as a player. He's a great player, Moy. And that sees an inadvertent deflection, and which lays Maupay straight in, and with the goal that he's begging at his mercy, he manages to hit a sweet shot, but straight at Gaeta. And Gaeta really does well because it moves just before he gets his chest on it, and he does well to smother it and not let the rebound out for Maupay to tuck away. So immediately from the start of the second half, they've stepped up a gear. Then Wolf starts to see a bit more of the ball, and then gets upended by Montoya, who gets yellow, spins him round. He does an extra roll, which I didn't necessarily like from Wolf, but nevertheless, he got a yellow card. And that's Brighton having both their right backs booked in a matter of 60 minutes, and only one of them's actually been on the pitch. I don't know if that's some kind of record. And then from the resulting free kick, we win a corner. And then from that corner, Benteke again manages to rise above everyone, get a header in. But this time he wasn't quite so early on it for it bouncing off his head. He was a little later on it, timed it a little better, but it still went wide. So, I don't know whether he's ever going to get his heading prowess back. But other than that, he's had a solid game, and he's been working really hard this last few games. Then on 66 minutes, the moment that most of us probably were dreading is that it actually finally materialised, and Glenn Murray came on for Solly March, who was feeling a little sorry for himself. And ironically, it had an effect with Murray coming on, because all of a sudden Brighton were just lumping balls into him, and we were actually cutting them out quite well. And from that, we managed to then push further up the pitch. And from one of those balls into Murray, we managed to knock the ball up front. Benteke receives it, does really well to roll his man, drives towards the box, and then a cheeky little reverse pass, beautifully weighted for Ayew, who does his best to mess it up. Dunk comes sliding in. It goes through Dunk's legs, and it actually brushes the side of Ryan. It was so close to Ryan that an inch or two further to the left, and it would have just bounced off him, and he would have got it. But nevertheless, it came off him. Who cares? In the back of the net, 1-0, fantastic. And there are just limbs everywhere. What was it like to be in the middle of that, Grant?
It was one of the limbs. It was absolutely magical. I'd say about Benteke, he's I'm saying to people in the crowd at the time, yeah, that goal was thanks to Tekker's with his work he put in there. No one actually saw it inside the ground, but he picked it up, like you say, right out wide. He carried his strength on the ball. He's probably second to Jordan. He's very strong. He's got the ball at his feet. He will get it somewhere. Yes, he's not a finished article, but back to your question, pandemonium broke up. I just stood there and just like that and just looked at them and just smiled, and I loved all the thank you for the widescreen there. I loved all the reaction I was getting to that. It was I think it was caught well on camera. It was absolutely one of those moments you remember. I'm actually sitting here, the hairs have gone on the end now. It was just magical. How was it captured on TV? I don't know. I mean, there's some good shots from the Palace media right down by the touchline, but I don't know. It's special, very, very special.
Well, it must have been half decent because all the Twitter videos I'm seeing from the Brighton fans, taking video of it. So, you know, and it's not as if they've taken it and then they're effing and jeffing and FFC or whatever. They're actually locked in and just continue to film it. Yeah. And it's truly bizarre. But it was very reminiscent of the scenes when Will scored the brace in the playoff semi. I think that was very much the same. So clearly, as a result,
I was in the opposite corner that night, but I had the same position like that. Just
That's fantastic. So we go 1-0 up, and then we're starting to take the game to them, which is great. And it definitely starts to open up. They're pushing for the equaliser. We're trying to soak it up, hit them on the break. I think Dan and Cahill who are imperious throughout. Dan obviously still has he's pace lacking, but when you've got someone with the quality of Cahill beside you, it makes the job twice as easy. And we seem to be soaking up pretty much everything that they're throwing at us. And with about 20 minutes to go, we're starting to look a little leggy now. And I'm thinking to myself, Roy, right, now's your time to change it. I would have taken Ayew off, put Townsend on. I would have taken Benteke off and put Tosin on. But like last week, Roy just stands there, seems to be cogitating, seems to be thinking about what needs to be done. Maybe what he's going to have for lunch today, Sunday roast, and then he leaves it till the 87th minute to make a change. And this is like after about 10 minutes of them trying to batter the door down, we're throwing bodies in the way. They're having corners, they're having throw-ins right in our third, pressing. But I have to say, we were resolute. And then he brings Tosin on in the 87th for Benteke. Benteke's put in the shift, as we both just said. It deserves his round of applause. And then on 90 minutes, there's 5 minutes of injury time, wasn't there? And in the third minute, sees the ball break to Wilf. Wilf pretty much on the halfway line. Tosin, who I think, I haven't seen it back, but I'm sure he would have been over the halfway line when he received the ball. When he was...
Well-timed run.
Go on.
It was a well-timed run. I could see it from where I was.
Well, I think it certainly would have been brought back. To check, put it that way. But even so, the pair of them are steaming in on goal, and Tosin makes a woeful attempt to run past the goalkeeper, sidestep the goalkeeper, which ends up actually being a half decent ball for Wilf, who, for an £80 million player, can't use his left foot, and then tries to stab it with his right foot, pings against the post, and you think, oh no, if they score now, if they go back up the other end and score, how costly is that going to be? And then with pretty much the last attack of the game, we've just cleared a corner. Yeah, Grant?
I was about to say about Tosin. I saw it differently in the ground at the time. I saw him, he's in on goal. He had Wilf in his left eye, left peripheral. He could see this guy running down. I just imagine screaming for the ball. Wilf knows what that match means to us. And I'm sure there was something in Tosin's mind that said, I'll give it to Wilf so he can stop the ball back in night so that we can all go mental and have a party. But, you're very polite in saying it was woeful. It was like he tried to roll his foot over the ball, then realised his shin was caught over it. And it
was Benteke, yes.
In his left foot. It was the simplest chance we're going to have outside the first 30 minutes this season. It was just, luckily, we were 1-0 up and it didn't matter. You can imagine that mattered for a 1-1 draw.
Thankfully. Well, I mean, that's exactly it. But even then, as I say, they went down the other end. And again, we're throwing bodies at it. And then we managed to run out with it. And then Wilf, with probably 5 Brighton defenders around him, just starts trying to showboat. And even then, they're looking completely disinterested. They're just thinking, well, he's going to blow the whistle. And it's almost as if they stop defending. And then he just he works himself a little opportunity, opens up for him, and all he has to do is hit the target. I mean, he's probably 8 yards out of goal. And he skies it straight over. And that's the end of the game. And you just think, well, all of that's forgotten now. You know, that's 3 points, 6 points in 2 games against 2 teams below us, which is even better. And it just puts them in trouble. And that win then moves us above Southampton into 12th on 36 points. And Brighton remain in 15th with 28 points. 1 point clear of the drop. Yes, Grant.
I was going to say, more importantly for me, it's 4 points off of them, and it gives us bragging rights back now for the summer break.
Yeah, exactly that. And
losing 6 points to them last year, that hurt me. That hurt a lot of Palace fans. It kept them up, so we can have another away match with them. Fantastic. So we take 4 points off them. But, getting bragging rights back for me is quite important, as I live just up the road for them. Lovely.
Fantastic. Right, there you go. That was it. Game over. Roll on the next one.
I think what was even more pleasing was obviously late last night that even though they're our own little boo boys, Watford beat Liverpool, and that what that did, that gave Brighton another little tug on their shirt downwards because it took them closer. And I mean, if we could be really, really cynical here and go that we're safe, and we were to, let's say, not win the next 2 games, and Brighton don't win their next 2 games, they are hugely in trouble. They are.
Have you seen their running?
That's terrible, they're running.
Have you seen their next game?
Yeah. I know, it's dreadful. And long, long run. I just want it to be as dreadful as it can. I know it's seen as a bit of a day out there, but to be honest with you, I'd rather them be down there below us in our shadow, as they have been for the last 31 years. That's a great stat. Anyway, so let's go back to the match stats. And the Ayew goal is the Crystal Palace striker Jordan Ayew's goals this year have won his side 12 points. Only Andy Johnson in 2004-2005 with 15 won more points in a single Premier League season for the Eagles. Brighton remain the only side without a Premier League win in 2020. Drawn 5, lost 3, with the Seagulls last enjoying a top flight victory against Bournemouth on the 28th of December. Palace are the first team ever to win a game on the 29th of February in the Premier League. It's another one of those weird things that our club can be associated with.
It's like being the first team ever to win at the Amex, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, the first league side, Liverpool beat them in a cup, didn't they? So they were the first team to beat them properly. So Roy Hodgson oversaw his 100th Premier League game in charge of Crystal Palace. won 34, drawn 27, lost 39. The first club he's reached the milestone with in the competition. I did have a massive load of stats that Lee Gilbert sent me today, but obviously I didn't see this in the notes. You know, obviously Nick was supposed to be doing this, so I didn't see this. Otherwise, I would have read those out. But we will make those available on the Red and Blue Review, and they make interesting reading. So it was a really good bit of stats that Lee's done for us. So 16 of Palace's 28 Premier League games this season have been goalless at half time, at least 5 more than any other side. Crystal Palace attacker Christian Benteke has registered 2 goal involvements. This is where I think we start sort of scraping the barrel when it comes to not assists, but involvements. Jesus. So Benteke has registered 2 goal involvements in his past 3 Premier League appearances, 1 goal and 1 assist, as many as he's managed in the previous 34 in the competition or in the league. So anyway, so we have some questions, talking points from the game. Luca's absence proving effective. Cahill captaincy. One of the questions. So we have, obviously, guys, we have a questions crew behind the scenes. I'll throw this one straight at you and put it on you, Grant. So Cahill the captain for the rest of the season. I'll give it back to Luca if he starts. Cahill's calmer and a better leader, says one of our guys. What say ye?
I've got Cahill and Luca written down to talk about, so I'm glad you brought me in there. Cahill is a natural born leader. End of story. And he carries that responsibility through the game as part of his persona, no problem at all. Luca has 2 personas on the pitch. He's captain, and he's not been very good at it for the last period of time, and he's a player. I clearly think that Luca will be a better player without that responsibility as of captaincy. If he gets back in the game, if he gets back in the team, you know, there's people keeping him out of the team now. And we've done all right the last 2 matches, haven't we? But Cahill, for me, he's our skipper for us. He really is. That's a tricky conversation that Roy needs to have. I mean, how will Luca react?
The thing is, from what I heard about the way that he almost dismissed Punchin's complaints when he was captain and gave the captaincy to someone else. Punch went to him and he said, "I don't do politics. I want whoever I want as captain, and I don't care what you say." Yeah. And that was pretty much how he fell out. But what say ye?
Well, yeah, no, I mean, I said ever since we got him that he's a natural leader. He's naturally, since he's played for us, all the players listen to him. They don't listen to Luca. They listen to him. And he's the one telling Luca what to do. And I think at times that Luca's hidden behind the captaincy, and it's covered up the cracks in his game. Don't get me wrong. I think he's been a good player for us, all in all. I think that there is no better penalty taker in the league than Luca, but it's just been proven, and we discussed it last week, didn't we? That the change in the performance, attacking wise, with him out of the team is noticeable, and that's 2 games on the run now. He just, unfortunately, recycles the ball, takes the easy passes, and then every now and again hits a 40-yard ball out to the wing. And he's just too defensive for my liking. I think when he's not there, and you've got McCarthy and Chiarte, they like to run with the ball. They like to run a lot more than Luca does. Luca very rarely runs with the ball. So yeah, I think Cahill, captain all day long, give it to him and let him keep it now.
Okay, well, I'm pretty sure you saw Grant's missus, what she thought of it, and Vernon Green said, "Been saying all season Cahill should be captain." Anyway, right, this is one that's gonna. Should we be talking like this after a win? But I think there's no avoiding this. And again, this comes from one of our fellows. So this is it. Big deep breath. Consternation in the background, I reckon. Would you bench Wilf next game, considering his history with Watford? Thinking Gyro left back, PVA left wing. Grant?
Absolutely not. No way. It's the sort of player you need out there. He was doing it down at Brighton. That match meant something to Will for Brighton. I wanted to talk about togetherness as well, about building the team. We saw it after the match yesterday. They was together, and they were together with the fans as well. But Wilf, he's there to antagonise and irritate. And if he can keep the lid on his bubbling fuse, however you call it, he can be very damaging. He did it yesterday, giving that to their fans. That was all staged. That wasn't a reaction from him. He knew exactly what he was doing. And happy days. You then get a yellow card for your substitute. You know, it's just, I think Wilf was on his game yesterday on that side of things. But pitch like there you go.
I agree. He just boils the piss of opposition fans. And it's hey, what do you reckon?
I can understand why the question's been asked. I didn't think he was great yesterday. I think sometimes he's too invested in it, and that affects his performance. He's not very good at managing his attitude at times, and I think Watford are one of those teams that know how to get into his head. I'm inclined to agree with Grant.
Mainly by kicking it.
Sorry?
I said mainly by kicking him.
Yeah, well, but it works because no one's been sent off it. You know, they're effectively assaulting him, and they're not. You know, they're barely getting yellow cards for it. But as long as we've got a sensible ref, I thought Atkinson. We've not spoken about Atkinson actually. Going back to that, I thought he actually had a good game.
Don't need to. Second game in a row, we've not had to talk about referee. Second game in a row, ref. I can't remember it ever.
And what impressed me is he visibly wanted to let the game flow. So he's given it, you know, he acknowledges where they could have had free kicks, but they retained possession. So that was good. So so if we've got a half decent ref again against Watford, you'd like to think that they'd be aware of their tactics. But if he turns up, he'll do well. But after I saw the game last night and against them against Liverpool, I think that I didn't see anything that scares me.
No, Grant. Last word on this.
Yeah, the referee. He was talking to the players throughout the whole match. You could say. I mean, I watched not where the ball is. I watched actually what's going on, and he was talking to the players the whole game. I thought he was. Can he have a man of the match as a referee? But he was good. He's on fire. And listen, yesterday, what a warm up for Wilf. It's Watford next week.
Exactly. Okay. Well, talking about Watford, Ian, would you keep the same team?
Yes. Luca doesn't get in as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, cool. Grant?
If it ain't broke, you don't try to fix it, yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So, again, last question from the crew. We all know that we don't have the money and books need to be balanced. So with season tickets renewals due, what would be the tipping point for some to walk away and not renew? With prices rising, will some people walk away? It's obviously irrelevant. I mean, like I say, I don't have season tickets anymore. So, but I know you guys do. So, Grant, go.
I won't be walking away. No, I won't be walking away. It gets later and later every year. It used to be December you get your season ticket, like the first price. Obviously, that was just out of question because December you got Christmas. Then it became January. No one's got money till February because they pay their bills in January. It came later and later and later. I mean, when is it going to come out this year? I think everyone's got the money. Are we secure yet? Are we going to be the Premier League yet? Of course we are. If we go down here, we've got to lose every game, to be honest. But it's a long answer to your question. But if it goes up, I won't be changing. Depends how much it goes up, though. I mean, money hurts people. And if it goes up by a silly percentage, then, yeah, you're going to go. I know internally within the four walls of Sellers Park that the people who are in charge of making money on match tickets have been targeted for getting X increase in revenue. So that may be in the case of season tickets going up. But you've seen now how they've got the different zones with tickets. You can buy different views, etc. Your prices are higher or lower. That may be reflective in the season ticket renewal for the better seats. Hope not. So I've got 7 home tickets, so it gets expensive. They increase it.
Hey.
I think I'm inclined to agree, actually, because I can completely understand the thought, and it is an expensive hobby, if you like, a passion. But very, very few fans. I mean, most of us will actually find a way to do it, and it'll be one of the last we actually cut when budgets need cutting, isn't it? You go to the pub less or whatever just to get the game, just to get it fixed. But I can understand it. But the thing is, because it's such a global game now, because we're part of the most popular spectator sport and the best league in the world, you're just going to get tourists. So if people don't renew their season tickets, the tickets will be sold.
You go first, Joe.
Well, Ben just turned around and said, Ben Allen behind the scenes at Red and Blue. He just turned around and said it's all to do with filing the tax and stuff. So, which would obviously make sense, seeing as how it's all due. You know about that. Go on, Grant. Last word on this.
Exactly.
No, go on. It's left behind listening to. It's got out of my mind. Sorry.
Okay, right. So, just going to give you a little shout out to you guys, where you can find us on Twitter, YouTube, Big Heads Media, palaceeagles.com to listen or download this or any other of our podcasts. And that pretty much is us done for this week. So let's take the time out to thank for their continued support. John Lyons, Grand Kitchen, Kev Lyons, Tom Clark, Samuel, Questions crew, in helping formulate tonight's show. I'd also like to thank you guys for watching, because if you don't watch, there's no point in us doing this. But I think it's been a successful weekend, 2 in a row. You reckon we can beat Watford next week, Grant?
It's a tough one, Watford. Quick answer is yes. I do think we can beat them.
That's all I wanted was a quick answer.
I mentioned earlier on about the togetherness. I'm going to carry on. Sorry. I have the feeling how the team actually getting involved with the fans at the moment. How it used to be a couple of years ago. I won't get on to the support side of things, but I think that togetherness, they're actually playing a little bit for the fans as well. I think that will raise them for the Watford match. It's going to be the same old stuff.
So Grant, so with that team ethic, that team bonding that you can see now, and obviously, you know, they all linked arms at the end of yesterday's game and everything, you know, what effect do you think that's going to have on Hodgson maybe staying?
I can't see him going. I think I'm pretty certain he's going to stay for another season. How much more he's got after that, I don't know. I think what the answer is going to be for me would be to bring in number 2. Okay, he's got Ray there, but he's always a background man. That number 2, then to become the manager. I think he'll be for another season after this one. I know they're currently doing the deal, but
while we've got time, let's go through these stats that Lee did, because I know he's worked hard on us. So to get through his.
Are these stats from the last year or the season?
No. Hear them out. So this is the thing. So Roy went through his 100 games with us. The first time he's done this with a Premier League club. So it's 63 games with Blackburn, 63 games, 52 in the Premiership with Blackburn, 96 games with Fulham in the Premier League, 20 games in the Premier League games with Liverpool, 50 with West Brom, and he's up to 100 with us. So, you know, it's his career league stats are 319 matches, won 112, 81 draws, 126 losses, 4-3-7-8 against 4-11, and he's been manager of the month in August 97, December 97, October 09, February the 10th. I don't know. I'm not even going to go into what his net worth is, but apparently they are, you know, they are his points and games stats. He's on as one as a manager. The Allsvenskan League, He won in 75, 76, 78, 79, 85, 86, 87 and 88. The Svenska Cup 80. He's won that twice. Danish Super Cup once and a Danish Super League once. So he clearly likes it out that way, doesn't he? He likes it in the top of the Northern Hemisphere, and he likes it in South London. So, yeah, from what I've heard, is he does sign another year's deal. I know that Parish apparently has offered him another deal. Whether or not he signs it, is down to them. Ian.
So if he does sign it, and as Grant's alluded to, and as Paul Holden alluded to earlier on, as I've seen the comments going up, what do we want the club to be doing? Do we want them to be actively getting in a number 2? Do we think that they should already be in for a successor, or are you going to just wait for him to? Are we going to wait for him to end his managerialship with us and then get someone in, or do we bring someone in alongside? What are your thoughts?
Well, I'll tell you what my thoughts are. Firstly, I had this conversation again, long conversation with Lee this morning, and it wasn't about a number 2. It was about his legacy and having possibly a 4th year with us, and his legacy needs to be that he kept us up despite severe financial restrictions. But what he needs to do is he needs to be bringing Pierrick, and he needs to be bringing Riedewald and some of our younger players sooner rather than later. He has to blood these players. If we were to beat Watford, the chances next week, the chances of us going down are slim to none, right? Barring, absolute miracles going against us. And I think that would be a chance for us to say, do you know what, McCarthy, if you're injured, we need you for next year. Go on holiday and stick Riedewald there, and play some, get Benteke off and stick Pierrick up front. We need to start blooding some of these players, because I think they'll surprise us. No one knew how good we go back to this old thing. No one knew how good Aaron would be, and he turned out to have worldies every other game against some of the best players, some of the world's best players, because we have got some of the world's best attacking players in the Premier League. And you just never know. I mean, no one knows anything about our kid up front, and I think if we throw him in, he will just want to do well. He'll run his bits off, and I think he'll be an unknown quantity. And I think because of his pace, and he will be eager to please. I think so. That will be something that Wilf can thrive off. For me, irrespective of number 2s and whatever, and bringing other players, the management in. For me, we need to be thinking more along players than we do about who's going to be Hodgson's number 2, and what's his name's been there. What's his number 2's name?
Lewington.
Yeah, Ray Lewington. It's just been at his side forever. Do you know what I mean? It's like Laura and Hardy. Just when one goes, they both go.
I understand what you're saying with regards to the players, but I think that's just an aside. I completely agree that if we're safe, there's nothing wrong with us playing. I'm not saying bring 5 kids in or 5 new players in, but you bring one in, and give them, say you've got 3 games. You start in the next 3 games. No matter what happens, you start in the next 3 games. You run your socks off, get used to it, and then see how it goes. With regards to the manager, I think they've got to be thinking now. We cannot find ourselves in the same position that we found ourselves in previously, regardless of whether it's managers walk in or whatever, where we simply do not seemingly have a plan. Maybe part of that plan, I don't know. Maybe a couple of years. I think it made a great number 2 for someone, but maybe alongside Sean Dyche. Then I don't know. Maybe there's a foreign manager out there. I don't know. I really don't know. But go on.
Dyche he's got a job for life, and he up there. So
but does he want a new challenge?
Why would he want a new challenge down here? Yeah, I can't. I don't know. I was just going to read Ben's question out then. Go on, Grant.
Just to reiterate, you both said it, so we'll make the 3 out of 3 here. Bring in the young blood, 100%. I mean, we've got 2 nice little matches coming up, next 2 matches. We win those, like you said, we're practically safe. Just start blooding these players in. Roy has done it before. I was in the pre-season Denmark or Sweden, was it last year? I can't remember now. But we went to, took the advantage, went to Malmo, so I went home as well. And at Malmo's football ground, they got Roy Corner. The bloke is an absolute god over there. He's loved over there because of what he did, and he played with their youth over there. Why doesn't do over here? I do not know. You know, how old's our average side age now? 30 plus. Yeah.
Yeah, 30. Yeah.
Bring these kids in, please. Yeah. They're feeling.
So, sorry. Ben Serena said, Jel, once safe, wouldn't you rather Roy plays 2 of Ayew, Tosin, Benteke up front and Townsend out wide? Again, I had this conversation. I think that Townsend is out of favour. I think they've had a ruck. And I know that according to Townsend on the radio this week, that, you know, he was singing Roy's praises. There's no way in a million years that our player of the year last year has just had such little involvement. For me, something's up. So, and again, Dyche just turned down Palace twice. Do you really think he fancies a job where clearly the owners don't rate him? I mean, he's been twice turned down for the Palace job. I don't know. I mean, who'd you get? That's the thing now. It's just it's a merry-go-round, isn't it? You know, I mean, a couple of years ago, do you remember we were going, yeah, we'd love Mourinho at our play. He loves our fans, and you know,
not now.
No, Christ Almighty! Look what he's doing.
Bankrupt us and then blame us.
Well, there you go. I mean, he's killing Spurs at the moment with his, you know, with his turgid play. So, but I tell you what I want to do. Just while we've got a few minutes, I need to again, because I was one of the Roy out. I'll put my hands up and say it, and I'm still one of the Roy out, but what he does, he keeps you up, and every now and then it gives you a glimpse of what you could have. You know, it's like bullseye. Look at what you could have had, right? And what he does is he lets us play. He lets us play like we played against like when we had 10 men, like we played against Bournemouth, and we smashed them with 10 men, and everyone was like, Christ Almighty, why can't we play like that? And then we play the next game and we stick 10 men behind the ball and get almost hammered. It really is. It's frustrating. Do we keep Roy and keep safe, scruffy football? Go on in.
Go on, Grant.
So he does enough. Yeah. I put another couple of names into the fire here. Tony Pulis, Sam Allardyce. You look where they were before they came to Palace. What did they do? Allardyce at Bolton. They just did enough every single match, and they were up the top flight for a while. 1-0. Pulis did it. They both came to our club, and they've done really what Roy's done. I mean, to a higher or lesser extent, maybe. But it's just like we're happy with that. Yeah, we're happy in the middle here, and one year we might have a cup run. Shaking his head, he's got to turn up. Go on, I love conversation.
Okay, so sorry, let me just so again, I had this conversation again with Lee this morning, and we did talk about those 2. But what I will say is that Tony Pulis turned around and said that he overachieved massively. I've heard the interview. He overachieved with the players that he had. So, and with Sam, I think what you get with Sam is old school management, where I think he just wants to kick your head in at half time. Do you know what I mean? I honestly think that he is that kind of geezer that if you don't listen to him, that he would just run over. I'd love to have seen cameras in that dressing room. I don't think it's. I think what it is he's been there, seen it, and done it, and both of those managers had respect. But you can see as well with Pulis. Pulis walked into a team that was going nowhere, that should have been going somewhere. It just wasn't working. And I think what he did strategically, he was very good. Most people behind the scenes know why it didn't work out with Tony Pulis. Everyone was saying he wants it, they want him back. But, I've had conversations with people, and they're not even people in the know. They are people that did know. And my wife, in front of my wife as well, and we were told why he left. And, it cost him £4 million. And so it's irrespective. He was only ever good for our club for one thing, and that was keeping us up. He would have never been good for anything else for our club, and that's why he went. Sam Allardyce, would I have him back? Would you have him back, E?
No, but I think they're all much of a muchness. They're all very similar in the way that they approach their football. Allardyce is probably a little more attacking. But because he likes his wingers, and he was the one that got the best out of Benteke, wasn't he? Allardyce. Was it Allardyce? Maybe it wasn't actually. But I just think my problem with Hodgson is that he's a one-trick pony. He's a dinosaur. He's stubborn as muck. But even a broken clock's right twice a day. And I think that his stubbornness has very nearly cost us big time this season. He's managed to get through the injury crisis by the skin of his teeth, because players were on their knees at the start of games, let alone at the end of games, and his refusal to play players such as Gyro, such as Maya, and others, because it's a squad, because they don't fit into what he's used to, what he wants, because he can't adapt. I think, I'm fed up with people saying, be careful what you wish for, because people wishing for him to stay on and stay on and stay on may just be as dangerous. We're going to have to change. We're going to have to move on. We're going to have to find a new manager. That's why I go back to what, the discussion about 5-10 minutes ago. We need to start hearing and seeing the planning that's going on. I'd like to see us change the style of play. I'd like to see us play over back three. Jel, you and I, we've spoken about it for years. We've got the players to play back three and play two up front, 3-5-2. What's wrong with that? We've got the players. We've got hundreds of bloody midfielders.
And if we're going to do that, then we can do what Ben just turned around and said in the chat. Then we can play two up front. We can play Tosin and Benteke.
Exactly.
I would like to see us, and I've said for ages as well, I think our best form of defence is attack. But anyway, let's have just a very, very quick 1 minute on score against Watford. Everyone in the chat, sorry we haven't been with you, but obviously we just completely put this together at the last minute because of Nick's unfortunate situation. So score, that's all I want. Score for you against Watford.
1-0.
Grant.
Help. 2-1. Us.
I'm going Desmond. 2-2. Okay, let's leave it on a positive, eh? So, listen, thanks everyone for watching. And like I said before, if you don't watch, there's no point us doing this. And I know we've had very good numbers tonight. And before I say goodnight, we say goodnight. Once again, like to wish Nick Philpott, our mate and presenter, his family, wife Sarah, all the best in this tough time. Our condolences are with you guys. That's it. Until next week. Thank you very much. Good night, Ian.
Good night, boys.
Good night, Grant.
Hope to see you again soon, Grant.
See you soon.
Yeah. Thanks very much. And good night, everyone.
All right. See ya.